And now to an update on a subject we know gets right up your nose: fly tipping.
In 2020, we looked into the UK's fly tipping problem, and I met one man who's made it his mission to stamp it out. Trouble is, his methods were so secretive, I had trouble finding him.
Hi, Angela.
Oh, good Lord! Martin Montague from Hampshire has spent the last 5 years trying to catch fly tippers using covert surveillance and then reporting them to the authorities. 18 months on, and Martin's investigations have gone national. In 2021, he approached every UK council with a request under the Freedom of Information Act and discovered that 3 in 5 of them, that's 150 councils, failed to carry out a single prosecution for fly tipping in the last year, and 50 didn't issue a single fixed penalty notice. It's left Martin fuming.
We discovered that almost 20% of all councils in the UK are doing nothing. No fines, no prosecutions, nothing. I was really horrified that it was so high.
With such shocking figures, the government has now stepped in, promising a crackdown. But will it be enough to curb this blight that's more problematic than ever?
Well, I'm delighted to say that Martin is joining us once again. Now, Martin, as we saw there in the film, fly tipping has reached what are record levels during the pandemic. But it seems that penalty issues and court fines are not acting much of a deterrent. It says only 3 in 5 councils have actually carried out a single prosecution. And I see that farmers are telling us that the whole thing is just spiralling out of control. Is it getting too big to control?
That's a really good question. It's stoppable, but we do need to make some changes desperately. Not only to the licensing system, which the government's looking at the moment, but to the way that advertising works, because 66% of adverts at the moment point to unlicensed traders. That in turn is rolling on to consumers who are booking them. Their stuff's being fly tipped, and consumers need to realise they can be fined up to £5,000 for that.
Yeah, I think people perhaps don't realise that actually they can be held responsible for stuff that's fly tipped. But I do know that DEFRA is introducing some new measures through the Environmental Act to try and tackle fly tipping. Just talk us through what they're planning.
Yeah, well, basically they're overhauling the registration system for traders, which is a very welcome move. They're also trying to crack down on waste crime with stuff going abroad, and additionally they're looking at digital waste tracking for the movements of waste throughout the UK.
Right. Now, is that actually going to be enough? And I wonder whether or not councils are taking this seriously, because your research has actually shown that, I'm not going to name them, but there are 2 councils in particular that have made no prosecutions whatsoever. But over the last year, they've used over £20,000 worth of, sorry, £200,000 worth of their local taxes to clean up the kind of mess that these fly tippers are leaving behind.
Well, I don't think it will go far enough on its own. We need a standardised national approach to fly tipping, very much in the same way that there is to speeding or other offences. You can't really leave it just down to the councils to say this one does something that's great and this one doesn't. But in addition, I do also understand that a lot of councils are under-resourced. So from a government perspective, a recent study has shown that every pound that has been spent on reducing waste crime has put £5 back into the sort of economy. So perhaps the government should look at helping these councils out with doing fines and prosecutions, but only when they do them, not just free money for nothing.
Yeah, that would certainly be an incentive. Martin, thank you very much indeed. You and your app are doing terrific work in the meantime. And the Local Government Association, which actually represents councils in England and Wales, told us that it wanted the government to review sentencing for fly tippers to provide a much greater deterrent. And they said it would help if manufacturers had to provide a take-back service for old furniture to discourage waste.
Well, I have to say, at the end of all of that, the tip that I'm taking away is never to touch or try to move fly tipping, even if it is on the pavement right outside your front door, because you're tampering with evidence, not advice.